Good afternoon, everyone. I'm an agronomist engineer. I'm an agricultural cotton producer, and I'll be mediating this panel today, which is related to mainly logistics. Globalization has brought forth fundamental changes for the integration and logistics of the productive chain. Integration is a crucial factor for business in a moment which international commerce, manufacturing, and transportation are changing radically. And today in our discussion with the speakers, they'll be examining initiatives being used to improve performance of international commerce from infrastructural angle. So I'll be starting with Ricardo. It's not only about producing, as Brazil is the biggest producer of soy, orange juice, and coffee. Anyways, soon will be for cotton as well. However, we must bring what we produce towards the market, the final consumer. And this is a great challenge.
Queremos
And if we want and can grow even further, we must improve this matter of logistics. So, please, if you may. Thank you very much, Julio. Good afternoon, Alexandre. Thank you to all of you here present. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank you for the opportunity of speaking here. Look, I'll be rather simple in my speech and rather objective. Tell a little bit of the story here. I want to be a little bit provocative here as one of the greatest opportunities when it comes to integration of management of supply chains. It all comes to technology. I've been seeing very little. I see a lot of opportunities for technologies, a lot of initiatives for technologies being developed. However, I see very little absorption and adherence amongst organizations which effectively and globally speaking, may collect bigger and better benefits if they're being integrated. So these provocations I intend to do, I hope they awake in everyone the importance for collaboration when it comes to management of supply chains. All my talk will be towards the market. I see the market in a lot of initiatives, but in isolated manner, developed in a unique way, dedicated towards an organization, but especially the capacity of integrating them and making them work indeed to reach a bigger goal to our customers and clients. They end up getting lost due to some difficulties. Even the difficulty of visibility. Everything we do when it comes to chains has as a final goal a search, the creation of trust from the consumer, the final consumer, our clients. And for that, we must have visibility. However, visibility nowadays requires such a great amount of information that it becomes rather difficult to deal with this in a way that is seen mostly around the world. So we must look upon this with greater care and hold it dear when it comes to technology and do the management to cause and create trust. I'll be starting a little bit of my provocation and showing a little bit of paradigms in my first slide. The management of supply chain agricultural is similar to any other major supply chain organization. Why do I say that? There may be a paradigm, we must say, that in agriculture everything is different. I'll be provoking here because agriculture may be even simpler. We deal with great volumes, with ships, rural production, large product moving between factories, borders, and ships and transportation. But there's a small detail here, and this is the important part of agriculture. the way, at least the way I observe, requires more collaboration amongst all the participants inside this chain for it to be effective. What I'm getting at is there's lots of interdependence in all the chains in our chain. We migrate, we send it from ports to factories. We export in containers, access markets in Europe and Asia, all its internal distribution. But I must confess that distribution, when we look at it, we have so many clients. We look at agriculture, we have an amount of concentrated amount of products that would cause maybe the same impact if you were distributing it. So what I'm getting at is agriculture does not allow for any mistakes because of the large volumes and great impacts. So we do have to be, in fact, effective when we do supply chain management. We have interference of all sorts. I'll try to go through some of them. But why this collaboration and why we can be effective? There's lots of talks about the world is changing. I'll not be repetitive here, but we see ourselves with very much clarity that each and every one supply chain nowadays is being demanded due through traceability factors, gases, and so on. And at one point, it reaches the product, yeah? Meaning our consumers will be further aware, wanting to understand the product origin, looking at some labels, natural product or vegetarian product. Was it raised in a humane way? So we have a more demanding client. But in the past months, it has shown to us how important it is to have a great supply chain within these breakings we have been observing around the market. We have to be preparing and having greater visibility of what is going on, better agility to solve those. This is the only way for us to be able to deal with this with bigger properties, to have technology. And we are not adept for a very simple matter. All the digitalization of the market is a rather young market. There's a lot of taboo, greater difficulty of understanding of what can and cannot be done. But the truth is, technology is there to help with those. We cross borders, countries, we cross cities. Our products, some of ours, such as soil, they're fungible products. They lose their traceability traits very easily. Even further, we must label products further and further. And all this complexity ends up making it difficult to bring more trust into the chain. And there's the use of technology that will allow for us to have an analysis of the whole chain from end to end. When it comes to supply chain, there's a lot of definitions in the market, but deep down, what we want to say is, I want to know where my product comes from. I want to know what the impacts this product caused in the chain, and I want to have a better perception of this as a consumer to be able to decide. The same way our clients, yeah? We should not underestimate the primacy of the supply chains, because there are millions of stakeholders and participants inside this chain. We have a habit of looking the supply chain in a very simplistic way, because we see producers on one end, may they be rural or not, the transformational and processing area, and the client on the other end. And the truth of the matter is that's not the way it goes. We have thousands of graphs such as this: production, processing, transformation, all chained in a very intrinsic hub. There's not only one company doing this transformation. There's an infinity of companies performing this change all at the same time. And there's the whole story of collaboration, the importance of use of technology, and a certain standardization, because deep down is for us to create an environment of trust, an environment in which we can really trust the information present. And at this moment, we get into the matter of traceability. The matter, well, well we talk about reliability. This requires some kind of technology that provides us comfort. There's a lot of talk in the market about blockchain. Maybe I'm talking about private blockchain, like a consortium on the operators of that segment. We may deposit information and they be treated with all the privacy needed, but to reach common objectives, to decide on the best ways for the chain. And deep down, this is what I noticed. My great provocation is to talk about, okay, we have to operate from end to end. However, there's no manager for end to end with different stakeholders, participants, and competing companies. There is a certain collaboration or a certain discipline in that collaboration. This is the great search we have been doing, how to use technology, how to integrate those technologies, and how to, as history has put us, great logistic operators and become, in fact, great supply chain operators. There may lie the great opportunity for all of us as well as the world, not only Brazil. We invest a lot in infrastructure. We operate impeccably in our logistics. And at this moment, we must integrate our logistics with other logistics. We make mistakes sometimes. The objective here is not to criticize, but to show opportunities. But the same way that product reaches a port, there's a breaking of the chain, and a new logistic may arise. And what we seek is to integrate logistics, integration of all this information, so we can look into the product, not only the way it was harvested, but the raw material it was used to be planted, until it reaches a shelf in a supermarket and being consumed by somebody in its final destination. We call the generation of chain from end to end, and we must insert a little bit more property in it. In our Brazilian agriculture, we have a lot of technology in the field. Yeah, we do have it, yeah. However, we don't have a lot of applied technology in our flows and global movements. I like to use this triad very much, this change vectors triad. The theory behind this triad says there are three great factors. There's transformation and change in the market, yeah? And as I want to provoke, maybe being a little provocative with this collaboration, is the sector says that to consolidate any transformation or any change, we must perform on the culture, on the technology, and perform on politics. And understand politics not as politicians, all the regulations that are embedded, governmental policies, and all that which regulates operation. Culture is us, the companies, everyone, using our desire to will. And there's a support from technology. This is not Brazil, this is not South America, this is the world. How do I see this? As I commented, the consumers, our clients especially, being even more demanding in some traits, no matter what they are. We see also governments being pressured on one end by regulation. We see suppliers and clients being in some way, they have to seek some goals amongst them. And deep down, what could help us to solve great part of these problems, technology I see as low adherence, low adoption. Once we find, if we use technology as a great foundation to bring this collaboration, this integration, it will make the way we organize our global supply chain much easier. So I wrap this up with a statement saying, without technology, the agricultural supply chain management will face uncertainties, which will delay all these conclusive alignments to comply with most markets. This provocation I leave with everyone, and I finish with a video which I hope is rather inspiring to all of you, as it was produced by Deloitte. However, it's a video that will demonstrate what in fact will be very brief, a brief future, the future of supply chain. It presents a control tower operating integrated with all the models, predictive models, prescriptive models, and descriptive models. It's there and it's working in an integrated manner. There's a certain dramatization here, but it's a good example on how we must manage and operate our supply chain globally. So I hope you appreciate this video, and that may be a great seed planted within each one of your minds to feel the need of working with more technology in a more integrated way that may allow collaboration of users that are part of the supply chain.
Command, I'm getting an alert. It appears we have insufficient inventory to fulfill an incoming order.
Production, what's going on?
We're predicting schedule changes due to unplanned weather conditions.
Analytics?
Forecasts show a storm hitting in 24 hours. Social listening confirms the track, and sensitivity models are predicting asset downtime due to flooding and workforce limitations.
Delays in delivery of raw materials could cause capacity loss of up to 26%.
Production, what can we do?
Running alternative production scenarios now. Our best option is to add capacity at the Northeast plant. An overtime shift would meet demand at positive margin impact. The problem is raw material inventory is too low for additional production.
Supply, if we did go into overtime, is there anything you can do to get the raw materials there in time?
Scanning inventory positions in storage and in transit. I've got raw materials on their way, but 5 days out. Wait. There's material in a warehouse we could get there in 2 days if we ship by air.
We've got clear weather on that route and a 150-knot tailwind, which will save on fuel.
We got raw materials in 2 days. We could make the order on time and stay within margin thresholds.
Exceptions. Can we make this call to go into overtime and divert materials?
Verifying this is within our tolerance to make a decision automatically. Command, we're good to go. No need to escalate to the supply chain planner.
Okay, Digital Supply Network. Let's do it.
Gostado. Opa!
Enjoyed? Sorry, technical problem here. I hope you enjoyed the video. We have many examples of what is already possible to be done today. Run scenarios in real time. Use analytics in our decision making. Naturally, our life is a little bit more complex than this video, but certainly we'll be reaching this very soon. The only point I leave here before wrapping up is that these things take a little bit of time to be implemented, and time is running. More digitalization is inbound for the supply and production of Brazilian agriculture and the representation of all global markets. It requires a lot of discipline, naturally, a certain care with information. However, it's very possible to be dealt with, to be dealing with sustainability, origin, and series of themes in a very reliable manner, each one taking care of their own end and benefited the same way. Thank you.
Great, Ricardo. Before passing the floor to Alexandre, one of the comments that you've made, I think agriculture today regarding technology, agriculture in Brazil, is advancing and advancing very quickly. We are now champions in quantities in many cultures, and this was achieved through technology, and we will improve much more. Regarding preservation and traceability, we also have to show the world what the Brazilian farmers are doing regarding preservation, regarding sustainability. ABRAPA has done a job and has proven that Brazilian agricultures preserve 219 million hectares in their properties. And that would be 42 countries in Europe. We need to show that we have chains that are certified, many of them, and we can indeed take this info to the world that the Brazilian agriculture has learned to produce and to preserve. Regarding soil, our soils regarding direct planting, technology, we are improving more and more. But we can't just produce and have it at home. We have to send it somewhere, and that must leave and must reach the consumer. And it is a great deal of work. And I would like to ask you something that we are living and we are trying to improve this integration with the other players besides the farmer. We know when our product left the farm, went somewhere. But throughout the players, there is an interest game, an economical game as well. The tradings want to improve the revenue, the exporter wants to improve the revenue, and the ships as well. How are we going to integrate this chain as a whole? It will be a gain for everyone, a win-win situation, but sometimes the interests are not conflicting but are different. How can you see that? Thank you for your words. I'll try to answer this in a technical way. We leave millions on the supply chain. We don't have visibility. We do not operate the best way. We don't trade off consciently. We don't trade consciently throughout operators. And we don't do the arbitration, this choice of what we have available at that moment. And technology brings that. We are living in a story where we decide, I'm going to compare with the sea. We look into the ocean and we are deciding about the surface of the sea. We're capturing the opportunities. But technology can give us the opportunity to dive deep for opportunities. I had a request, if I can remember, a case of $13 million. It could be a lost sale. It could be an operation that wouldn't be completed. And bringing it to our reality, we have this capacity of generating and deciding with data, not just looking at the surface of the sea, having the opportunity of capturing value. This is huge. We are leaving a lot of money on the chain. We have a commercial management, not operational. We are doing this management in a solid way. But you have a lot of money on the table. You have a lot of opportunity to capture. I will reply to you saying, certainly it is a win-win operation. When you're capturing this value, this is distributed throughout the players. They each have their own proportion, but that's how I see it. If they're all in the chain, and if the possibility is preserved, we're going to maximize the profit. if we do that with sustainability, I think technology can help. In this event, we announced some certifications, and we digitalized that, and we can do that on the chain. We can demonstrate. We have other ways. And even to standardize the image of the rural producer, the farmer, as we have said, we have a lot of opportunity. And I must confess, all these opportunities will help the rural producer more than any other integrant in the chain. I hope I can answer your question. We have at ABRAPA an experience that is the award Cotton Brazil, where we have the producers, cotton producers, and we have the logistics as well. Logistics is involved, and we only need the vessel providers. We have started that process. It's not an easy or simple process, but it is possible. We must dedicate to that. And as you said, the biggest gain is from the producer. Now, passing the floor to Alexandre Duarte, which is an executive director of FERMAC Cargo and logistics director of ABRAFRUTAS Brazil. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you here today and to be here with you. The theme is very complex. It's not simple to conduct agribusiness connected to international logistics. All the sectors have been through a huge problem with the pandemic. Everything was stopped. Great logistic professionals were apart from business due to the logistics stoppage, but nobody stopped chasing technology to transform international transportation and to make this process more sustainable. In that context, I want to show you the work we are doing with the vessel companies and air companies throughout the world, introducing biofuel to reduce significantly the emissions of CO2 in the world. And this parallelization gave time for people to speed up this type of technology to apply in international transportation. So new techniques to use and to increase sustainability of international transportation. What has been done? Maritime companies and air companies created sustainable fuels, and there was an increase in profitability, a more sustainable planet in a cleaner way. This implementation was done in a short term, and it has been developed. We have developed a cleaner fuel. It reduces in 85% the CO2 emissions to the planet. It's impressive what has been done. And how was this done? It was done collecting used materials. We gathered cooking oil and transformed that in fuel, changing completely the burning type. motors were adapted, and the fuel.
E desse resultado, você tem.
The fuel was mixed with standard fuel. And we have now certificates for that, and that is available in ports and airports throughout the world. But what does agro have to do with that? As ABRAFRUTAS, we have many restrictions and supermarket chains that don't buy products that has been transported in airplanes because it pollutes, it's bad for nature, it's tough, and with new technologies, this is being done. So clean fuels, clean transportation, and our products increase the possibility of sale for whoever is radically against this type of transportation. Companies in San Francisco Valley have the certifications from maritime companies and airlines, and that works. And I'm sorry, I did not go over my slides, but I've said of that. This is how it's produced, how it is applied. It's safe, and it ensures the production, and it ensures the Brazilian product will be in the supply chain. But it helps us also reach countries that are radically against oil burn. We invested millions of dollars. We have many, many new technologies for transportation, and the logistics doing their role to help everyone reach their final destination. As you've said, it's not enough to have technology to make the farmer adequate to everything that arises as technology and new things and many certifications, so you can have the conditions to commercialize your products, and then afterwards you can't deliver. It's not worth it. If you have trouble throughout your path, you're not going to be able to reach it. You produce, you have everything, and then it's not enough. So throughout this context, not only on the roads, but railroads, everyone is starting to be sustainable in transportation, because that's the future, and we depend on that, so the world can move on.
Essa é a parte feliz do negócio. A parte triste é o que nós vamos ver agora. Segurança alimentar, né?
Now we're going to talk about food safety in international logistics chain. But then we have a problem, as Ricardo was commenting, regarding the use of technology that is applied to the entire chain. We have some serious issues regarding transportation. Those pictures are for fruits, Brazilian fruits that are going to be exported, and they are being inspected in international airports in Brazil. And they're also inspected this way when they arrive throughout the world. Let's go. This fruit doesn't come this way. It has traceability. It leaves the farm traceable, clean, ready to go to the truck and goes to the airport. And once it arrives to the airport, it must be checked by the competent organs. If we are in the logistic chain, we think this is a problem, because you decharacterize the product. This is an airport cargo terminal. Those boxes that are over the benches, they are inside the terminals where we can have everything. Tires, shoes, clothes, you name it. We do not have a special area to handle ports, to handle food in ports and airports. The clean and organized chain where people demand in the origin, it's broken throughout the way. It is a concern. And why am I saying that? Because the fact that you are decharacterizing this product the way it came by the origin, it changes, and then the chain will be backwards. It will go back to our hands because the transporter is the one responsible for the problem. But the problem is not in the transporting, it's in the handling. And you have a reverse of the buyers because the logistic chain doesn't work. No, it does. It has adequate materials, especially if you think about the vaccinations. Everybody was vaccinated and we are there. It's not the logistic chain that is the problem. It's the structure. It's not only in Brazil. It happens in Africa, it happens in Europe, it happens everywhere. Like Chile. In Chile, you have a designated area, and you don't go through that. But in many, many countries, the products are checked this way. We do not have a customs area that is segregated, or for example for drug inspection or anything like that. And this problem that starts in a custom house goes back into our hands as logistics operators. This picture is from Guarulhos Airport. It's a customs designated area completely taken by fruits. Look at that. This is from left to right, and this is from right to left. This is an entire cargo terminal inside an airport, 100% taken by Brazilian fruit in a single day. So that day, we were doing 370 tons of fruit out of Brazil in a single day.
In 4 cargo ships spread around the world, France, Germany, Holland, Belgium, has been shipped throughout the world. So there it is. The supply chain has evolved. Exportations in Brazil have grown absurdly in the agribusiness. and the structure is leaving a lot to be desired. What concerns us is when we'll be able to withstand the situation. There's a great concern with sanitation, traceability, sustainability. However, we must organize ourselves in a safer way to get our products to arrive in a correct manner outside the country. We cannot stay in these conditions. It's rather dangerous. There's a lot of cargo, it's a lot of products, and we just can't handle it. Why do prices go up in international logistics, Julio? There are a lot of cargo failures that keep on going, and you break everything. You break sustainability, you break chain, everything. So a company such as Ricardo's that gets everything ready for importation, leaves it inside the port, it makes a mess during customs and documentation. The ship goes away, container stays. So the fuel goes away. Sustainability of all of this technology developed to save, and the container remains, and then you have to repay all that. So it's no good. Agribusiness, exportation of foods has to be fast, agile, directed, Julio. But I'm gonna make a comment here. I think this problem, actually, the most harmed one is the producer, yeah. Because anyways, I think this kind of thing that makes us to lose great opportunities, yeah. As we have wonderful weather, we have the soil, water, we have people who can produce lots of fruits, and it seems that fruits only 1% of total agricultural revenue in Brazil, and it could be much more, yeah. Especially this kind of thing, we must try and solve in the foreign market. Customer's always right at the end, yeah. Ricardo has to get there, yeah. And there are niches we could attack, yeah, and be present in more demanding niches. We have producers and technologies that meet those more demanding clients the same way it meets all others' demands. Yeah? So this is the kind of thing we must be dealing with, so we can have maybe 2%, yeah, of the agricultural GDP of Brazil with fruit, which I believe there's a great possibility. Yeah, Julio. This is the main issue. The math always ends up in the hands of the producer and the exporter. As things don't go right along the way, and the producer ends up holding the tab, reducing its production, gives up producing or changes culture entirely. So Brazilian culture suffers a lot with this kind of operation. It's kind of complex operation, so to speak. Not only the transporter loses, producer loses everything, loses product, money. National transportation, it is hard, Julio. It is really complicated, this situation, this current situation of handling. Sustainability depends on bigger efficiency. We cannot stop in time and maintain the situation of clearance and moving in ports and airports. We must have a quicker path for the food, more efficient, so the producer is able to produce and benefit from what is being exported, yeah? So the fruit chain has been suffering. It's going step by step, very slowly growing. and suddenly there's a problem and another problem. This is difficult to keep. So, my friend, we must find a path. Yeah, Julio. Okay. What else do we have here? This is part of what has been done regarding the situation in the airports. And here is another problem we also have, which is intense inspection for drugs. You see here that that's right, it has to be done. There's no other way around it. But we could avoid this in a more... There is technology for that, so you don't have to be touching goods inside the airport, because you see the fruit boxes are deposited on the floor. So a clean chain. I mean, how does it stand? Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, we can't have that. We must have a segregated area, a handling area, or maybe leave that ready and track it so it gets onto the plane or the ship and move forward. Yeah. And this is the same situation. We have the product ready, and there it is completely handled in a wrong way, and this provides a lot of loss in terms of fruit for the producers, as loss of product, exportation product, losses to Brazil. We are not able to administer this in a safer way for now. So there's no loss for the field, yeah? It's very difficult to produce. It's not easy. Everything is expensive. And loss in quality too, yeah, as the product will be getting to its destination. And oh yeah, so Brazilian fruit has problems, yeah. Yeah, actually, it's not something routine, but it does happen.
Nesse contexto, você tem...
And within that context, you have many problems abroad, yeah? Another problem we also observe is the use of technology for international documentation. So we have many producers and exporters that send off their products once the ship arrives and documentation is not ready yet. That certifies this product leaving Brazil. Yeah, so guys, it's difficult. Yeah, we must speed up these exportation conditions and local work, yeah? Authorities must pay a bit more attention, as a lot is required from the producer, from the product, a lot is required from logistics. However, there's a gap in ports and airports that must be revisited for agribusiness, especially agro, because what we have, Julio, goes bad. Within statistical data analyzed by us, 931 million kilos of food is thrown away around the world annually. 17% of global production goes to trash when it comes to food, and out of this 17%, 6.5% does not leave ports and airports.
Então é assim.
So, in what world we are living in that we produce to throw away? Yeah, we can't have that. We can't throw away 900,000 kilos worth of food away. There's no logic in that, yeah? In a planet in which people go hungry, distribution is difficult, because many times, as we were speaking, you're able to produce. You're able to produce within all the applied rules, but you cannot reach. Brazil has a lot of countries they can't. We can't reach to commercialize its products. We have problems with Russia, for instance, to be able to get fresh fruit to Russia. It's very difficult, logistical problems. So it's a lot of food thrown away, and food that does not leave ports and airports. It leaves production, is transported up until embark point, and it goes bad. Or it leaves production with all the certifications. It goes on board, it crosses the Atlantic, it doesn't leave the airport on the other end, and it goes to trash. There's a lot of food. We cannot have that any longer, yeah, Julio? Yeah, very good, guys. For sure. And we thought that soy, cotton, and corn, yeah, had problems regarding logistics and exportation, but in fact, fruit is a much bigger problem that must seek improvement if we really want to grow more in our market. And fruit employs a lot of people, and that's rather important, especially in the regions of the Northeast, where there is a lot of need for job and income, and fruit can help greatly with that. So trying to seek a solution. Let's knock on Minister Marco's door and ask. Let's find a way out and improve what we already have. Yeah, there's a complexity to it. It's not easy. Yeah, this matter of drugs is a very serious problem, and it's complicated to solve. As Ricardo put it, there has got to be some kind of technology or something for us to be able to improve these matters. If I may say something, technology provides visibility. And visibility is to get attention of lots of participants in the chain, and together we can seek a solution. One of the things I like the most is the management of your crops is supply chain management is easy, simple. One of the most complex things there is, because considering all the variables at hand, something very noticeable for everyone involved. It requires visibility and agility in everyone's decision, because problems do come up. Problems such as the one in the airport, they do take place. However, we must have alternatives, yeah? And this is the time technology brings information to us and brings information within those areas and helps us solve everything. I'm a big defender of this, because you may not have visibility unless there's technology behind it. We must invest more in technology, digitalization, equipment also. I'm being a bit generalistic at this point, but up until now, I was extremely turned towards software and digitalization, but we must seek paths and invest more in the way we bring visibility to our management to ensure our client on the other end will trust us. Yeah, that's true. I think we're also having a rearrangement of all this story. Yeah? We must not forget that 2 years ago, everything was coming to a standstill. Yeah, and even today, we're going through a serious problem, which is improving, which is the lack of containers, because containers were lost somewhere. So many companies in navigation, they ended up going bankrupt. The number of shipping companies was reduced, and the world returns now consuming much more. So, wow, so we were not prepared for that. We were prepared. It's only that we had this standstill along the way, and there's been a rearrangement that is taking place now, and this must change and improve towards the next year, especially but we'll be living through some of these problems. And maybe, Ricardo, Alexandre, there lies the big opportunity for us to take advantage of that and together seek solutions that meet everyone's demands and get all actors to discuss this and find a way out, which is a win-win for everyone. Yeah, I think that's the way, and what we must start seeking exactly, Julio. What concerns us is, well, post-pandemic, things are aligning once again. Agricultural production, due to all climate changes around the world, has been suffering different with different problems. There are years we produce a lot, much more, but we cannot deliver. And then you have years in which you produce less and have availability for delivery. Yeah, so you see how it is. Things are very unbalanced as of yet. So the great concern here is we have to produce enough to feed ourselves as well as the world, yeah? And if we don't get the path right, Julio, we will not generate results. So people, as you said, fruit employs a lot of people, yeah? So you have production backing houses for mango, for instance, with 600 employees. Our director with lemon has 600, 700 employees working there all the time inside the farm. So you produce, everything is ready, it goes inside the container. When it's ready for embarkation, they can't do it. All that must be reviewed to facilitate to do everything correctly. World will be needing food more and more, and Brazil has great opportunity and potential to be this food provider. Maybe soy, corn, fruit, livestock, meat. And we need to improve this matter of our logistics so we can have this opportunity and be able to provide the world with food. As population is only growing, people are being born every day with a mouth and they must be fed. So there's a great opportunity for Brazil. And little by little, we were improving as time went by. In this matter of cotton, for instance, we would discuss, wow, how can we export 2 million tons of cotton? Infrastructure and all this concern. Within 2 months, we were able to export 700,000 tons of cotton. So it shows that, wait a minute, we have the capacity of exporting 4 million tons of cotton, physical capacity. Now, what is the cost of this? That is the problem. The cost says this is the model Brazil adopted, unfortunately, to take things on truck back, so to speak, was not nice. Fruit you can carry by plane, but that is not possible for the rest. So we must improve this logistics issue. Of course, this doesn't happen overnight. It demands time, investment, but it is happening little by little in Brazil, and I think as agriculturers, we apply an enormous speed in production, and state has not been able to keep up. It's up to us to unite with the government, as we know where it hurts. We know our issues, and we also know the solutions. So to unite further and further and seek these solutions. Exactly, Julio.
That is the way. There's no way back. And I see, Julio, agro
Gerado,
is being considered, well, how can I say that? We see agro on the demand of other products, other exporting products going the same path. But agro must be different. What we produce goes rotten, won't travel safely. It demands agility. It demands caring to work with the products of agro, which is food, or sometimes fabric or grains. It can't be dealt in a general way. It must be in a special way so we can reach out our objectives. Countries like Chile, food products are a complete different chain. They are the priority of Chilean exports. Brazilians must look into that. Agro is food. Yeah, basically it's fruit. I went to Chile. They have very little available land, but they produce a lot. But we have peculiarities of.
Resolver isso, eu acho que o começo é através da associação, através da ABRAFRUTA, né, levar esse problema, chamar a logística que você participa.
Exato.
E o nosso governo que tem nos
And the government which has been attending us with everything they're being able to do. So this is a great opportunity to improve this issue. Look, we only have 10 minutes left. If anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. Somebody will bring a microphone over to you.
I will take the mic. Good afternoon. I'm Cida Moniz from Granja Magazine. I would like to congratulate you on the panel. I was talking to a friend of mine from Cargill and congratulating you for your work, your presentation, and I want to ask you a question. What can Cargill, facing all those difficulties in case of ABRAFRUTAS, how can they contribute so this can be built the way you see to help this change of paradigm, that this shift, this perception? Is it possible to have any partnership with that? I don't know if we can have a partnership regarding that, but my life is a life of problem solving. I started working with supply chain, and that meant I have the commitment to solve problems. What I believe and the way that I think Cargill thinks about problem solving is that it's not always simple. But why are we thinking about collaboration? Collaboration makes the opportunity of everyone being listened and being listened to and talking. And I will use the term that Julio said. All the players in this chain, they have to play their role. And then we insert processes and measurements, and then we have technology. We need to measure. And then we're going to see other problems again. We have a lot of technology available in the market. We have a lot of methodology, a lot of problem solving. And I will do my provocation, my presentation. There's no solution. And then that's the thing. All stakeholders must be sensible that this won't be good for someone. It might not be good for a segment, for a company, for a business, and it must be solved. So what can I take from the fruit problem. All this methodology, a bit of humbleness, and thinking that we are not the owners of the truth and the only problem solvers that exist. We must have a lot of collaboration and availability to understand and to solve the issues. This situation that Alessandro brought us needs investment. But Alexandre, I've been sitting here and I'm listening to you speaking, and we have return. We need government, port operators, logistic operators, rural producers. They profited a lot with the effectiveness, efficiency. It's not efficiency. It's having excellence to solve the problems. So don't feel alone. Problems in supply chain, logistics problems, they are everywhere in all segments, not only in Brazil. But what we have is that we might have more trouble to solve a few problems because of economical issues or other issues that are out of our control. But normally, although all of those investments are paid off and have a lot of return of investment, that is based on your comment. President Sergio, I would like to congratulate Alexandre and Julio and Ricardo for the content that you have brought to us today. You can see our main theme is to discuss sustainability, and logically, sustainability from the point of view, not just environmental, which is common, but from the economical and social as well. Have you thought about the social damage of this deficiency in the world and the chains and everything? Just so you can have an idea, what is the cost of that? What is the function of logistics when you're thinking about chain? Is to transport where you're producing to where you're consuming. And we're feeling, Julio, as producers, we're feeling that we are doing our role. And we feel we have 2 billion people with needs, suffering from malnutrition, and suffering from this transportation. This definitely will cause profound damage on this chain. We're going to have registered here what you have discussed. Let's do a solution. We're going to have some meetings, as Julio said, with the determination. That's what I wanted to say. That's the provocation I want to do. Thank you, Sergio.
Meu nome é Elizabeth Chagas.
I'm vice president of As Bramas. I come from a logistics background, and you've poked me. 10 years ago, I had a lecture at Angafi. What Brazil loses in the demurrage is equal to 3 Santos ports every year. 44 million tons of fertilizers that are there paying the demurrage. And if you think about 44, the average that we're paying in the demurrage of fertilizers is about $5. Just fertilizers demurrage. All of this inefficiency. I can't understand why nobody thinks about that. And then we discuss with port operators a $5 discount. You know, they're pointing to the moon and looking at their own finger. Thank you. We are going towards the end. I would like you to go and do your final considerations. I'm going to start with Alexandre. I would like to thank you for being here, for listening to me. It's news that I'm here, GAF 2022. First time I'm invited, but this suffering in the logistics chain, I'm well known of that. I've suffered for 33 years. I work with international logistics since I was 19. I am in the board of ABRAFRUTAS, and I feel the problem for agro as well. Initially, we had the problem in logistics, and after we realized that logistics also affects the producer. And they're being pressured to have everything correctly, traceability of their products, and once we get on the shipping ports, it's unfavorable, and the bill goes back to the producer. And we can't do that. We can't have people starving anymore. The solutions are here to solve those problems. This is a problem that is solvable. Thank you, everyone. Julio.
Ricardo.
Eu vou fechar com um pouco mais de otimismo aqui, pelo seguinte. Veja só.
Well, I've been on this market for many, many years. I've discussed the merge many, many, many years, and I keep discussing. Many, many years ago, my decision was a bit obscure. And I decide on a predictive model considering external scenarios with variation of supply and demand. But where am I trying to go with that? There are many things to be fixed. Many. We all have many opportunities to work for many and many years with supply chain and logistics. Those are some of the best areas to work in Brazil. But we have the conditions to decide better, to decide with data, to decide with the comprehension of how much this decision is means regarding money in savings or in cost. We can decide properly. We have a better management of our chain, better visibility. This is what I want to say. I'm planting a seed. I hope I have planted the seed of technology for everyone. And please know we have a much better condition to make decisions today. Now, I'm not just looking over the sea. I can dive deep. I can go to the bottom of the ocean. Maybe I will one day, but
Fazemos decisões muito mais acertadas, a nossa oportunidade de erro é substancialmente reduzida quando se usa assim base.
But we are deciding more solidly based on data.
We are developing lots of things when it comes to industrialization and technology. However, there's a little bit of standardization left. If everyone goes along their own way towards modernization separately, integration will be made more different. So we were able to provide more standardization and collaboration within the chain. And collaboration is not only one segment. It's soy collaborating with milk, soy collaborating with fruit, collaborating with like this opportunity inter-segments in which we operate as long as we use the means of transport. Thank you very much. Either way. Okay.
Well, Alexandre, Ricardo, I was here thinking that I should have not left the farm. I didn't know we have so many problems from the door out. And they can't see the size of those problems and how much those problems get in the way of our growth. But the representatives of associations, of the chains, they must engage. And in cotton, we are certifying producers. We are certifying the cotton trees, the roads. And I've discovered that we have a huge problem when our bags go to our consumers. But basically in Asia, they're dirty, broken. So now we are together with logistics companies. We're going to do DR logistics. And from tomorrow, I will go to shipping companies so we can close this chain and start this